Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today is June the 12th, 2023, and it's 7 o'clock p.m. I have my very special guest with me tonight, and I know I'm going to say this wrong. Nancy Messuri.
Messuri.
Messuri. I was
Yes.
close,
Yeah.
but we've already talked, and I said I will jack this name up, I guarantee you. But she is a fabulous designer and sure to please all of us. So the alert just went out that I have went live, so people will be jumping into the chat momentarily. So I'm going to slip in to the chat and tell everybody hello. So let me see. Dahlia, hello. Donna, Joe, Nancy, looking forward to the interview. Candy Holbert. Hi, all. Working on my village greens tonight. Brenda Foley, hello from Kentucky. And Janine, hi, Donna, Joe, and Nancy. So as the other ones do come in, Dahlia, hello. I'm just going to let the chat roll for now. I'd like to welcome you to my channel and thank you for this fabulous interview. It's got a lot of good questions that have been sent in, and I'm really excited to be asking you some of them. We have kind of went over them just a smidge because I never want to blindside my guest, and she has not declined any of the questions. I'll tell you guys that. She's willing to answer them, but there's no guarantee we'll get to all of them. So let me see. Hello, Kathleen. Let me see. Melina, hello. And welcome, guys. So I'm just going to go straight in and we'll get the party started. So how did you ever get started into quilting? Let me do that, but I'm going to roll it back because I misspoke. Tell me a little bit of something about yourself, like husband, kids, any pets. Do you live on the East Coast, the West Coast? I don't need your state because people will look you up.
Okay. Well, I live with my husband, Peter, in the great Northwest.
Awesome.
And we have a little dog named Zach. We just lost our precious little Tippy. Yeah, but we also have two children, our son, Lee, and our daughter, Andrea. And let's see, what else?
That's pretty much it on that. So I'll circle back to my original question. How did you ever get started into quilting? Was it like an aunt, a mom? Is it something you picked up in school? Whatever gave you the interest to begin quilting?
Well, a little bit of background. My great-grandmother, I have some of her squares, and my grandmother and my mother all quilted, but I didn't get interested in it until I was 30 years old. And a friend of mine, I'm a former musician, and we were both in the Milwaukee Ballet Orchestra. And so that's how I knew her. And she was an avid quilter, and she got me started. And I have not stopped since. So
that's fabulous. Yeah. What instrument did you play?
I was a violinist until neuropathy kind of did me in. So,
I get that.
Yeah, I was a violinist.
Oh, I've got a couple more coming in. Susie K, hi ladies. Donna, your top match is Nancy's quilt background.
Yeah.
That was done purposely, just letting you know. Kathleen, hi Brenda, and she's telling everyone hello and all that are joining in the chats. Susie Gabber was running late and she is here now. So let me see. Your friend, does she still quilt as well?
Yes, she actually has a business called Celebration Quilters, where she does memory t-shirt memory quilts.
Oh, that fabulous.
She designs for people. And so, yeah, Celebration Quilters. Her name is Jan Bjorkman.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If you could circle back the hands of time, can you tell me how many quilts you think you've made in your tenure?
Well, see, when I started, I made quilts to be loved. And that's all I wanted for them, was just to be loved. So I made them for family members, friends, and eventually you run out of family members and friends. So I when I started designing, that wasn't really until 3 or 4 years ago that I started designing. I finally hit a wall, and it was like, I'm tired of doing what other people do and copying that. I want to make my own designs. And
I think
so
that's
I just started designing. And it kind of happened at a time when retirement was forced on me from violin because I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I am completely in remission now. So that's a great thing. And so when that happened, everything about what I did with quilts changed. I was always did very muted colors. And as you can see behind me, that's not the case anymore.
No.
Just very, very traditional blocks. And after the diagnosis, somehow everything changed. As far as design and color, and I'm not sure why that is. I have a red wall in my house, which my daughter says, I grew up with a green mother. Now she's red.
That's cool though. And
Yeah.
I do think cancer changes us mentally, mind, body, and soul.
It does, yes.
My heart's with you as a survivor as well.
You are. Oh,
yes.
Good for you.
2006. And
yeah.
It changed my life forever.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm going to slip back to the chat because I've got a couple of that has come in. Let me see. Tiffany of Tiffany's Quilting Life. Hello, Donna and Nancy. I'm listening, but wanted you guys to know I'm here. Thank you, Tiffany, for hopping in tonight. Let me see. Candy Holbert, and everybody's telling her hello. Susie Gabbard. I like Donna's shirt. Looks like the cook Nancy. I've heard that a couple times tonight. You know, as soon as she come on, I went, oh, I got something that'll match. No, I had it on. Just playing. You know, we got that copy in me. Yes. So a lot of good questions has been sent in for you tonight. And I think it's going to be a blast to just pick your mind just a little bit as to how you got started, where you are today. So let me see. So Becca, hey everyone, just wanted to let y'all know that I am here. Thank you, Becca. Means the world to me, girl. So some of the questions, like I said, I'm going to backtrack. That way I'm not going to be bouncing easy and hard. So what kind of sewing machine did you start on versus what you have today?
I started on an old hand-me-down from my mother. And I got it because she hated the machine. So she wanted to get a new one. And I ended up with it. And I know why she hated it, because it always had terrible tension problems. It was an old white. And then once I started getting into quilting, I bought my first Bernina. It was I think it was like a 1080 or something. So it's a real old one. And then I bought another Bernina, and then now I have the Bernina 880. So
I hear that's a good one. That's a workhorse.
It is a fantastic machine. Expensive as all get out, but worth every penny for me.
Oh, absolutely. I think your our hobbies, habits, or whatever is well worth the investment to make our lives a little bit more present with the experience.
Yeah.
Hello, Susan, and welcome tonight. Thanks for dropping Nancy's link. And let me see. Everybody's telling her hello, and hello, Heather, our debt-free quilter. She's expecting, so we're all on baby watch.
Oh my! Oh wow!
So let me see. I want to hit one more of mine, and then we're going to get to the good ones. Do you have a personal choice in the batting that you prefer to use with your quilts?
I prefer dream cotton, and I prefer, at this point, the lowest loft. I can't remember, it's Request or something like that. Because this might be getting ahead of the game, because I view all of my quilts now as art quilts to be hung on a wall, to be sent to a show. So I want them as flat as possible.
Right.
And I'm not really interested in what's going to be the warmest or anything like that.
Right.
So
The best outcome.
the lowest loft. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that makes total sense. So I'm going to start hitting these good questions.
Okay.
I think you're going to be impressed. Can you describe what your creative process is?
Oh my gosh, it kind of changes with every quilt, and it evolves as I go along. Sometimes I just get an idea in my head and I head over to Electric Quilt 8 and I draw it out. Sometimes I just get a block and play with it and play with it and play with it forever and ever and ever and ever. And it's like pulling teeth, and then finally something comes.
Oh, okay.
So it really varies with the quilt. And now that I'm working as a Benortex ambassador, I get sent fabrics, and this is a whole new thing for me to design around a fabric rather than to use a fabric that enhances the design. So it's really been good for me to think of designing in a different way. So did that answer the question?
I believe it did.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Okay.
Do you have a design background, or have you just been self-taught? Because I'm telling you, that quilt behind you, I'm just jonesing for that. I love that.
I'm completely self-taught. I could not do anything that I've done without Electric Quilt 8 because I can't draw a straight line for anything. So I can draw straight lines in EQ8. And once I started learning how to use that program, it really opened up my design capabilities and the speed with which I can do a design and check out colors. And so like I said, I couldn't do it without Electric Quilt 8. I know there are other design programs out there, but that's my choice.
Right. And you're real familiar with it now, I'm sure.
Yeah, very, yeah.
Shaylee, hello. I know it's Sheila, but she likes it when I call her Shaylee. Hello, Heather. I know you're about excited. Everybody is so excited. So let me skip to the next one. What made you want to design patterns? I think you've already touched on that. You kind of got burned out on the regular patterns.
Yeah, that's really it. And what gave me the idea that I had the capability to do it, I have no idea. And I started taking classes actually with Carrie Schell. She teaches Electric Quilt 8 classes. And once I started doing that and started becoming more confident with EQ8, then just the whole design world just completely exploded really in my head.
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Do you ever find yourself lacking creativity? And if so, what do you do to come up with new ideas?
Well, it's not very often that I feel lacking in creativity. And this year has been a whirlwind because of the ambassadorship and having deadlines. That's also new to me, having deadlines. And if I get in a little bit of a slouch, I just sit and play on EQ8 for a while and see what comes up. Sometimes nothing comes up, sometimes something does. And so that's really what I do. I feel like I'm a walking, talking commercial for Electric Quilt 8.
No, I think it's fabulous. I've had a few other friends that use EQ8. I haven't taken the dive, but they've come online and showed my online guild and the different techniques and the things that they can design, and it's mind-blowing. You know what I mean? But as far as for me, I'd be like, it'd be one more tool in my toolbox, and I'm not sure I would use it yet. I've only been quilting a couple years.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I've only been at it a couple years, so I just want more experience under my belt before I take that dive.
Yeah.
Let me see. Dahlia, how did you get picked by Benortex to become an ambassador?
I applied, and I didn't think I had a prayer of being accepted. And I was very surprised when I got accepted. So yeah, I just simply applied when they
That
sent
is
out.
fabulous. Your work is impeccable and it's
Oh,
stunning.
thank you.
And I'm just thankful that you're sharing your time with us. How important is it for a pattern maker to understand any aspects of color theory?
Color theory. I've never studied color theory, any kind of formal training in color. I just use what I like. And I play a lot with color in EQ. And sometimes I'll accidentally put something in and it pops up and it's like, oh, wow, that is so cool. So I really just go with what I like. So I don't know how important color theory is to me. Yeah.
To me, I know very little about it. I know if it looks good together, for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a win.
Right.
So be it quilts. Donna, your love, wait a minute. Your live didn't alert me. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Fallon from So Be It Quilts is now in the chat. She
Oh,
didn't get the
hello.
alert. Fallon, meet Nancy. Nancy, meet Fallon.
Hello.
She is the one that I was telling you about that has the fancy roller that'll grip to your fabric.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Fallon, if you can, someone needs to drop Fallon's link because she's not blue. She won't be able to do it. And then Nancy will have that. And then also, Fallon, if you could reach out to her, we'll have her link drop. That way you'll have it. That way you ladies can hook up. I was telling all about, yeah, her Fallon's link's already dropped.
Is it Fallon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And this tool is going to be a game changer for you. Like I was telling you before the live, I watched her husband, I don't think like a quilter yet, but she's changing his mind. And I love going into her videos and seeing what she's got him doing next. But this ruler is a game changer, and I'm jonesing.
Okay. I definitely will look into that.
Over here, you know, I just want to kind of like show what all it can do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fabulous game changer for the quilting community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So Fallon, there you go. And put me on your list for, yeah, they come in 14-inch. She's kicking off, I believe, this week. And then the other one, I'm going to misspeak. Fallon, is it 18 inches? I think it's a little bit bigger. Tiffany was using Fallon's ruler last night. Awesome. I think all of us creators need to be out there pushing this because we love it.
So do you have her website? You said it's linked?
Yes, and I will email that to you.
Oh, so great. Okay.
Her YouTube handle is So Be It Quilts.
So SEW or SO?
SEW.
So Be It Quilts.
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll be thankful that you did. It's a 24-inch. They're telling me in the chat. I just wanted to make sure. And she and her husband were talking about the different amount of fabric. My husband has arthritis in his left hand and has had many surgeries and can still hold this ruler in place.
Ooh.
I'm telling you what, it's just kind of like putting your hand on a scale and it's going down and the fabric doesn't move. I don't know how else. It's 24. Okay. It's 14 and 24.
I cannot wait to try this.
I'm telling you what, it's going to be a game changer for you, sweetheart. And as soon as I can get my hands on one, I'm going to be using it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have arthritis in both mine, so it's going to help.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So let me see. They've already dropped the link. She's got it, sweetheart.
Okay.
Thank you, Fallon, for hopping on. I wanted to make sure that you knew she is interested in that, and I'm sure she'll be in touch and you girls can talk.
Definitely. Yeah.
Do pattern makers need any certain skill or information before sketching or writing anything out?
Well, you definitely need, in my opinion, you need a program like EQ8, and then you need two other programs. You need Adobe and you need, I use something called Artisan 6, and that's where I do all of my graphic design. And I kind of play off the 3 programs because there's no one program that I found that can do it all. So yeah, so I'll take something from EQ to Adobe and then mess with it and get it how I want it. And then, like I said, all the graphic design is in Artisan 6.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. And I swear by that, by Artisan. It used to be a lot less expensive. It's more expensive now, but I just swear by it. It's really wonderful.
Right. You just have to start somewhere, I think. Like
Yeah,
dip your chin in,
yeah.
learn it from the bottom up.
Yep.
Will you make one smaller, Fallon? They're asking about the ruler. Dahlia, yes, but I don't need one that long. So they're talking about lengths of rulers. So I'm going to get back to the chat. I didn't want to miss a good question for you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you have any experience with computer drafting software? Well,
that's what the Artisan 6 is, computer drafting. Or drafting. Now, does that mean like electric quilt or like?
I don't know. I don't know.
Drafting. I don't know if that's electric quilt or Artisan 6. I don't know the answer.
I'm just going to put both.
Okay.
That way it covers us. What software would you recommend to those that want to write their own pattern? Would you recommend for them to start with EQ8 or would you recommend something else?
Well, you can start with EQ8, but there are drawbacks to EQ8 as much as I love it. So you have to use Adobe to go with it to get to make PDFs. Otherwise, you're constantly moving stuff around in EQ8 to get just to print something out, and you can't change the size of the numbers or anything like that. So all that I do in Adobe, and then the graphic design in, again, Artisan.
I think that's cool. Is Adobe Photoshop what you're talking about? One of the
Adobe Photoshop. Well, no, not Photoshop, just Adobe.
Just plain Adobe, Dahlia.
Just plain Adobe, yeah.
Is the pattern behind, wait a minute, is the pattern behind Nancy Vance? I believe you wrote that one, correct?
I did write it. Is it what?
I'm trying to make out what she's saying. Behind Nancy. I can't make it out. It's too blurry.
Oh, okay.
It's down 2 more, Joe. Right there.
Right there?
Up 1.
Is the pattern behind it?
It's too far for me, and I'm trying to squint. Vivance? I believe that's what it's saying. I don't know.
Is that's
balance? Write it down and ask Joe.
Are they asking for the name?
It's beautiful. I
believe you.
Asking you, have you named that one? Is that what's the name of?
It is Vivace, Vivace with an exclamation point.
She got it right, and I didn't say it.
Okay.
I butchered it. I totally butchered it. Vivace. Vivace.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go.
Alan, you are good. You're challenging me tonight, girlfriend. Wait, is just for designing, right? You can't use it to write patterns, can you?
No, you can't use it to write patterns.
Okay, Adelia.
You can't rely on their yardage charts because of the way they do it. You have to really figure out your own yardage.
Right. Adelia Short, illustrator. Thanks, Becca. That was going to be my next question. Vivace. Okay.
Vivace.
Vivace. I'll get you there. We will practice this when we're done. I think it's Italian. It has to be.
Yes, it is. It is Italian.
Oh, thank you. I love that pattern. Can you, wait a minute. You can write the step-by-step in EQ8. I thought you could only design.
I only design in EQ8. I don't write step-by-step patterns. I do that I use Word and that Artisan that I was just talking about, copy and pasting and putting it in Word. I write the pattern out in Word. there's really several different.
There's a lot of steps, it sounds like, to
Yes,
get
yeah.
one pattern. I'm telling you what, that one, I've been jonesing for it since I saw it behind you.
No,
I think it's just beautiful.
thank you so much.
What is the hardest process for you as a creator for making a pattern? If you had to like just articulate to the audience, what's the hardest part, do you think?
Well, really, the hardest part is the graphic design for me. It's not designing, it's trying to write it out coherently in a pattern is really hard. The first time I did a pattern, I grew so much respect for pattern writers. It's unbelievably difficult.
Oh, absolute. You can write a step-by-step in EQ8. I thought you could only design.
No, you can't do step-by-step.
I would love a pattern design class. Absolutely. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
We'll have to scout her website and we'll see if we can get her doing them. There are many ways to write a pattern as a designer. Absolutely. So, do you remember what your first pattern that you wrote yourself was?
It's called Snow Geese. And it's also like the one behind me, also made with flying geese. And it's got black points and everything else is white. So I called it Snow Geese. So it's basically a lot of flying geese. So Snow Geese.
Geese.
Geese. Yeah, Snow Geese.
I'm gonna check that out because I I love black and whites.
It's one of my favorite patterns, even though it's so simply colored. And
I think black and whites are elegant.
Yeah,
they bring a lot of dimension.
Yeah.
Have you done either EPP or FPP? And if so, do you like it?
I live by FPP. I do so much foundation paper piecing. I can take a block and I'll look at it for a while and think, how am I going to put this together? You know, I'm thinking traditionally, I'm like, oh, foundation paper piecing. There's no other way.
Right. I prefer FPP now.
Yeah.
Traditional, I'm after FPP and for almost a year now, the struggle is real for me to go back and just traditional piece. I love the continuity.
Yes.
I love the everything lines up.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I've had the only foray I've had into EPP was with my pattern called Cosmic Rainbow. And a friend of mine, her name is Becky Campbell. She goes by So Forever Becky Campbell.
Oh, okay.
And she has, it's called EPP Made Modern. So she has sticky paper that uses, that has shapes for EPP. And so what you can do is stick it onto the paper and use the machine rather than sewing them on by hand. It makes machine piecing much easier. So if somebody has a problem with their hands, they can do this. So
that is awesome. And it was So Forever, you said?
So Forever, SEW, So Forever Becky Campbell. And it's a really cool concept, a great product, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And welcome to the chat tonight, Beth Goody from Goody Goods. She's a long armor.
Okay.
For FPP is excellent. Love what you share on your IG page, Nancy. Is she not fabulous?
Thank you.
This is FPP Dream Team, man. Absolutely. I tell you what.
Yeah.
I think it's fabulous. Do you have a designed portfolio that someone could go and look and see all of the stuff that you've wrote your own patterns? Where would they find them? That they could kind of like go back and have a look, see, and maybe if the pattern's available, they could go buy it.
All of my patterns are available on my website at NancyMessuriDesigns.com. And Yes, all of them are available there. Some of them are available with quiltwoman.com.
Okay.
So you can, I don't deal with paper patterns at this point in my career. So if you want a paper pattern, you can go get it through quiltwoman.com.
Okay.
But other than that, I do PDF downloads on my website.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. That way
Yeah.
you get what you want and you can print what you need.
Yep.
Let me see. As an example, I just got a question in. Did you quilt the quilt behind you, or do you do your own quilts, or do you send your own quilts out? Now that's a mouthful.
I send my quilts out because I was doing it by myself for a while, and it took so much time. So it took time away from designing. And designing is what I really want to do, designing and putting them together. So I have a very lovely quilter. Her name is Beth Goddard. She doesn't have a website or anything, but we have consultations and come up with something. So she does most of my quilting. Once in a while, I'll do my own if it's something like spiral quilting. But I'm not good at quilting. Just not.
I think it's a learning process.
Yes, yeah.
My husband got me a long arm last year, and every time I'm on it, I'm learning something new.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm not animated. Everything's either ruler work or free motion.
Yeah, free motion quilting I just cannot do. It's kind of like drawing straight lines when you need to, and that's why I use EQ8. I can't. It just doesn't get along with me.
Right. What would you say your greatest project achievement has been since you started quilting and designing?
Well, the most amazing to me quilt that I made is called Ripple Effect.
Ripple Effect?
And Ripple Effect was just invited to go to the Houston show, the International Quilt Show Houston, in a special exhibit called A Twist on Tradition. And
so cool.
This quilt it's all it is cut glass dish block, and it's in different sizes. And it gets it starts large and gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It's got diagonal symmetry.
How cool is that?
Yeah. So that I think is my greatest achievement so far.
That sounds super cool. Heather from my chat, she lives in Texas, so I'm sure that she'll be out there checking that out.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
Let me see. Where do you get your inspiration from? Is it like at night, do you ever wake up and have like a doodle pad and you got to write yourself a note so when you wake back up? Is it something you've seen? Where do you get your inspiration?
Sometimes I do wake up in the middle of the night and write something down so I don't forget. It's my inspiration is just from all over the place. Sometimes I feel like my pattern called Pear, which is a foundation paper piece quilt. I felt like that one just kind of fell out of me. And I don't know where it came from, just fell out of me. And other times like I said, I work like the Dickens to get something that's decent. And it's just all over the place, really. I get inspired by colors. I keep trying to put purple and red together because I love the clash, and then I end up not putting them together.
When you're doodling it.
Yeah, So I am a symmetrical quilter. Every time I try to do something improv, it ends up being symmetrical. So I just kind of given into that I just do. You've embraced. Yeah.
I wish I had the top of the state. Texas is big. You never know, Heather. You never know. Is there a design process that you find particularly interesting that you thoroughly enjoy?
I enjoy so much of it.
Is it like after you've designed it, picking the colors that you want? Is it the thought of how you're going to lay it out?
I think it's more with the colors. I think the colors can make or break a quilt.
Oh, absolute.
Yeah. So really, that's, I guess, my favorite process. Was that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, I think is working with all the colors and all the so many possibilities, and finally ending up with one that you go, wow, that's it.
You
I'm
know,
talking
when you
about
know.
NEQA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolute. Is there a pattern designing? Wait a minute. Is pattern and quilt designing your full-time job now?
It
That you're
is.
retired.
Now that I'm retired, my full-time job is designing and quilting, and that especially happened with the Benartex ambassadorship.
Now,
Because
when did you become an ambassador for them?
that started at the beginning of the year. So we're
Fabulous.
kind of midstream now. We're working on Christmas in July projects right now, and we all have projects that are due each quarter, and so it's really been fun because they're very nice over there, and I really enjoyed working with them.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
What colors have you never used or do you dislike using in quilts?
These days, it's pretty much anything goes. I don't use a lot of purple though. For some reason that color, like I said, I keep trying to get purple and red together, but it doesn't seem to work. So,
Right.
but purple I have not used a lot of. It's probably the least color I use.
Let me see. Amy says, I love free motion quilting, but it takes me forever to finish. I'm sure the more I do it, the better I'll get and the faster I'll get. No, slow and steady wins the race, love. There's nothing fast about quilting. I had a mid-arm. I used to do my quilts on my domestic, and that beat me to death. So then my husband got me a mid-arm, and I loved it. Well, then my quilts were getting too big for that. So now if I want a long arm, it'll do
I'm so
anything.
impressed that you're trying to that you're learning long arm. I'm just really impressed.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to go ahead and get the digital, and I was like, I want to learn all the basics first, and then we can do that as an add-on. Because I know if I get spoiled with touching a button here and there and measuring it out, then I'll never go back.
Oh, you're amazing. You are my hero.
I love pantographs. Ruler work is definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
And then if I get bored or it's just like a simple quilt, I'll just meander and push it aside. Let me see. Do you think that creativity is part of the human nature, or is it something that you must nurture and learn?
Both. I think it's part of human nature, but you must nurture and learn it.
Absolutely.
So I think anybody can use creativity if they want to. And
I think it's in all of us.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
Let me see. If you could ever interview someone that you just like, they're my star, they're my hero, who would it be? Who has influenced you the most in the world?
That would be Jacqueline de Jong.
Ooh, that's a good one.
She is amazing with what she does with color, and her designs are just fabulous.
Have you ever met her?
No, I have never met her, but I would
that's
love
one
to.
that's on my bucket list too.
Yeah.
Love the designs. Love.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me see. What in your personal life has influenced you to choose this career path? And you've already, I think, answered that with like the violin to this creative process.
Yeah.
Medical kind of.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think, we have probably covered that, but I think being a musician has influenced how I design. I think that's why I am symmetrical, because
it has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, all of your work, I mean, it's stunning.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
The way you put colors behind you together, you know what I'm saying? I can make flying geese all day. They're one of my favorites. But when I see yours, I would have never done like the darker, the lighter. I never would have. Now that I see how pretty it comes together, I would do that all day long.
Well, those are actually two separate lines from Bendertex, and the solid ones. Oh, what are they? I'm working on one called Pearlized Marble. That's not it. I can't remember what it is. And the other one is, I can't remember that either.
That's
But
okay. I have those days. It's called, chemo brain.
yes,
That's my
yeah.
excuse. If I can't remember, it's chemo brain.
The surprising thing about the quilt behind me is that I use the little tiny pieces has the stuff with all the busy stuff, has the fabric with all the busy stuff, and the bigger triangles has the more plain colors. So that's what's kind of surprising about, it's kind of shocking about that quilt.
Right. And I mean, it makes it walk off the wall. It's just beautiful. When
Thank
you
you.
come on, I was like, wow, I love that. I love Bernatex's fabrics. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is it like being an ambassador for them?
It has been hard work. I won't say it's not been hard work, but they are very enjoyable to work with. They're very flexible. It's fun to get all the fabric, and I guess what's the question? What was the hardest thing about it?
Let me
What was the
see. Let
question?
me get back to it. What is it like being an ambassador
What is it like being?
for them?
It's a lot of work. It's mostly because of the deadlines, and a lot of it's my own doing because I make these designs that take a lot of time.
Mhm.
So that's partially my fault.
I just love it. Fallon, she says, I want to make that quilt behind you too.
No.
Fallon, we got to get together, girl. We'll do it on live. That would be fabulous. And then Fallon, she also loves your quilt. She's the one that
Yes.
designed the one behind me, and I just dearly love it.
Yes.
I agree. Yes, the quilt just blows me away. What is the best advice that you've ever been given in your career, whether it be orchestra, whether it be quilting, whether it be in life in general? What words of wisdom or inspiration has anybody ever given you?
I guess simply enjoy the process. Just try to make what you love and love what you make. How about that?
I like that.
Just enjoy the process and try not to obsess too much about the details.
Right. Let me see. I can't remember the way better than I can tell. Everybody said we all mess up with our words. I do it every day. And the girls, they laugh at me. They understand,
Well, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
we all have been down that road. Let me see.
Paula Nadelstern is the name of the fabric designer with the real fancy fabric behind me.
Oh, okay.
Paula Nadelstern. And
Now, do you sell any of their fabric from your site, or is it
No.
strictly you're an ambassador for them?
I'm
And
just
then-
an ambassador for them. I strictly sell my patterns on my website, PDF patterns on my website.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we're going to be getting one. How are your quilts different from the ones people say that they just sit down and just sew fabric? You know what I'm saying? That's what the question is. And it just came in.
I'm not quite
Yours
sure I
is
understand
pattern,
that.
and it's not like she's not like sewing up scrap fabric. If I'm making
No, definitely not.
Right. This is a thought process that goes into EQ8, that goes into multiple levels of technology, and
Yes.
it produces the greatness behind you per se. Yeah, this is like scrap quilting. This is like intricate quilting.
It says I definitely do not do scrap quilting, and I certainly have a lot of scraps. Maybe one day I'll use them, but I don't do scrap quilting. No.
Absolute. Words are hard, they're saying. Absolutely. We all have
Thank
those.
you. Thank you
Words
very
are
much.
hard. If you were going to ever buy a long arm, what kind of a machine would you recommend? Or what kind of a machine does your long armor use?
I don't know what kind of machine she uses as far as the brand goes or anything. She has one that she has to just do by hand, and she has one that is computerized. So she has
Right.
two of them in her living room.
Oh, God love her. She's
Yeah.
really working.
And I have no room in my house for a long arm, so I have not ever even thought to inquire about it. I
Oh,
would
I
have
get
to
you.
I would have to have it take up my living room, and I'm not willing to do that at this point.
No, you're not that hooked yet.
Not yet.
Um, do you have anything that you would like to tell us that might surprise us that no one knows about you? And I think that one would have been you started late in your career, per se, of actually designing. You said you've been doing it for like what, about 5 years now?
Yeah, about 5 years, 4, I would say more seriously. And that's surprising. I don't know.
I think that would be really surprising because I would have never even thought of you as a violinist.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I was reading a little bit, there's no backtail there. And I would have always thought you were a designer, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think that would have been one. Um, if you could watch anyone in the world quilt, a quilt, who would it be?
I could watch anyone quilt to quilt. Oh, the woman who wrote Walk, Gearing. I'm looking at the book over here.
Right.
Gearing, the Walk and Walk Two. She's a walking foot for everything. And
Oh, wow.
that's my girl. Walking
Oh,
foot.
that would be me too, because
Yeah.
that to me would be fascinating.
Yeah, so she has 2 books out. One's called Walk, and the other I think is just Walk 2. Gehring, Gehring, I believe. I can't see it quite from here, but I would watch her quilt, and she does
Oh,
everything on a domestic.
God bless her is all I got.
Yes, I know. That's what I say.
The struggle was real for me. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I thought I was knocking really pretty quilts out. They look pretty on the top, and then they'd have eyelashes underneath. No, that wasn't for me. I didn't do something right. Oh, I love her books. I love those books so much, Heather. Yep, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me see. As a business entrepreneur, what has been the hardest thing that you've had to overcome as you've progressed to designer, into building your reputation and your business, now into ambassadorship? What's the journey been like?
Well, first place, it's been fabulously interesting. And I feel like I grow with each design I make. I'm not a cookie cutter designer. I don't, most of my quilts do not resemble each other at all. I guess the biggest hurdle was pattern writing. Overcoming that pattern writing, huge hurdle.
Yeah, that to me is mind-boggling. I don't know how my friend Becca, she designs patterns. Fallon does. I'm so envious of these ladies because it's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, well, it wasn't in mine either, but
and
it
now
is now, I hope.
Absolutely. And it's going to be fascinating to pick through your website and go shopping a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Let me see. Living in Greenland. Hello, Katie, and welcome. She's a little bit late. Really learned who's behind these YouTube channel names. Has your guest ever made a quilt from batiks?
I used to use all batiks. That's all I did for quite a long time. And then when I started designing, I found it difficult to work with the fabric. It's kind of stiff and slippery. So I went back to just using non-batiks. I use grunge sometime, but that's not batik.
Right.
So
I'm just getting into the batik room for me.
Yeah.
And my friends are helping me, and we're working on a quilt in batiks, and it's going to be a blast. I was never I've never really been into them. I was always playing it safe with, okay, red and yellow or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
that was a safe one. Now I'm reaching out of my comfort zone totally and doing all of these neat things.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, when I see them all come together, a friend
Oh,
of
they're
mine, Louise at I Quilt Too, we just closed out doing a lion. I'm sorry, the tiger for Violet Craft on my
yeah.
channel, and hers looks like it's walking off of the page because she did it,
Whoa.
and
Oh,
it's
I
just
mean,
mind blowing.
batiks are just gorgeous. They are
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
So I'm
fabrics.
learning a lot about
Yeah.
those. Do you have photos of the work you've used with batiks?
I do not, because I was using patterns at that, other people's patterns at that point.
Right.
And I did not have a website and was not thinking in terms of needing to take photos.
Right.
So no, I do not.
Quilts. She's like, batiks are hard for me to keep lined up, but I
Yeah.
think they're so beautiful together.
Yep.
To me, I'm learning about the texture, and I'm really starching them puppies just to get them to where they're at a good. But they
Yeah.
come out beautiful when they're together.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
But I think they take a little bit of extra love. Do you starch your fabric when making a quilt? And if so, what brand do you swear by?
I'm a bad girl. I do not starch. I know you're supposed to, but I'm just too impatient. I just want to get started.
You jump
So
right
I'm
in.
bad. Sorry about that.
Do you have, yeah, she already said she has trouble lining the batiks up, just like most of us do.
Yeah.
You work with them. I starch them like crazy. For me, that way they're like sewing paper.
Yeah, I know. I know a lot of people starch, and I know I should starch, but I don't.
Right. Let me see. I don't want to miss any. I'm trying to see. I got to get my screen just a little bit closer. Batiks are hard. Let me see. Living in Greenland, Casey. I'm just skimming the chat. Wow, she is me. No starch. Absolutely. Tiffany's quilting life. The girl can take something straight from the store, straight to her machine, and have a quilt in a couple hours. She's our speed sewer. The girl's got mad skills, and all of her patterns are in her head. I have to read
whoa.
like a million times. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh.
Write
I'm
this
impressed.
name down, and when you're laying in bed one night, you get on YouTube and check her out. Tiffany's Quilting Life.
Tiffany's, is that Tiffany?
Tiffany apostrophe S Quilting Life. I'm telling you what, I've learned mad skills from this girl, and she could be just sitting there and just blind cutting, and I'm like, and I'll tune back in after I've washed the dishes, and heck, she's got almost done. I don't know how she does. She's really good.
Oh, I don't think I could do that.
No, I mean, she's
Wow.
fabulous. All the patterns are in her head.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The other thing I do not do anymore is pre-wash my fabrics.
I've never done that, but I've been
never done that
to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, then it's going to get all stringy all around. Then I'm going to have to press it, you know. So I've never done it.
It takes away from the color a little bit. And I really, since I started the ambassadorship, that's when I stopped washing fabrics, because I wanted to keep the brightness of the fabric. And I make my quilts for walls anyway. I don't make them for beds. So they're not going to get washed really.
Exactly.
So
I've got number 5 counted to be sure it was all there. Okay. So Be It Quilt says, I can't believe how fast Tiffany quilts and gets them together. Plus a fabulous eye for color. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing that website.
Are going to be blown away.
Okay.
I'll tell you, she just had hip surgery, so she's been doing like the last month or so. They're bed videos. The girl's hand stitching quilts. I'm not kidding. And while she's just sitting there talking, and it's getting her through, the girl's got skill.
So she must be an artist. I bet she is an artist.
I
can
call
draw
her
things
and
in.
Teresa Louise. They're the artists in my wheelhouse,
Yeah.
of my friends. They're the ones that can see it in their head and put it out.
Yeah.
And I can remember the first time I was watching her, I was just watching the pattern that she was doing, and I messaged in the chat. At the time, I didn't know that she doesn't write patterns. I was like, oh, what's that pattern called? And her husband messaged in the chat, it's in her head. And I was like, what?
Oh gosh.
And I reached out to her after, and she goes, no, I don't write them down. You're going to have to hit the pause and write
I'm
it.
so envious that she can do that.
Yeah,
That's just
I've never
amazing.
met anybody like that before,
No.
Tiffany. And I'm telling you what, God has richly blessed me with the friends that I have. I can sit back and I watch and I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And I'm just fascinated. Some people like the news. I like to watch Tiffany. She is really good. Let me see. Candy, this pattern seems very easy to me. They're talking about different patterns. Tiffany is amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How big do you make your quilts? That's one more question for you. You said
Like I
you're
said,
doing basic wall hangings now,
most
right?
of them are wall hangings or throw quilts. I did make a king size quilt for our bed. And I do have a pattern for it. I made it as simple and quick as I possibly could because I knew it was a king size quilt. I didn't want to be spending the rest of my life making a king size quilt. So it's very, very sleek and modern, simple. And that one is called Stage Right.
Oh, that's cool. We just did our bedroom makeover and it looks like Bahama. I did a class online here teaching the girls doing bargellos. So I did
wow.
bargello in all the colors of the Bahamas. And
wow.
I loved it. I love doing that. Yep. Why women? Yep.
You should have pictures. You should have pictures of your quilts up here.
Oh no, they're nothing. I'm not even near there. I can wear it. Does anybody else have any questions? As I'm going to pull two more because I don't want to keep her past the time that I've already said. I want to make sure I do not want to miss anything. What patterns? We've already did that. We've already answered. That's one of the questions is, have you ever quilted a quilt top for someone else? No.
Nope.
That was easy. Nope.
Well, I used to hand quilt when I was in my 30s and 40s. I was a hand quilting snob. Everything had to be hand quilted. It took 3 years to make a quilt.
Yeah.
And I had a friend I had a partner in crime who also did the same thing. And so, yes, I guess I have quilted for other people because those were quilts that were gifted to other people.
Awesome. Tiffany, you're going to see in her channel right now as she literally is hand sewing this quilt together. And
so
then
hand piecing?
quilting, hand piecing and hand quilting.
Oh my gosh, Tiffany.
As she's recovering from hip surgery.
Wow.
I'm telling you, you're going to be blown away.
Okay.
You can really thank me later for that one.
Okay.
I'm telling you what, she's one. Hand sewing just isn't my strong suit. I've watched her. I'm getting better at threading the needle with the assistance of a little tool. But I'll sit and sew a couple pieces and I'm like, okay, back to the machine. I don't know how she does it. She's just amazing. So I want to make sure I've jotted down questions periodically as they came in. So if anybody's interested in anything, they can go to your website and your
my website
patterns. And they can, how long is shipping for you? If they ordered say they went on your website tonight and ordered, when would it ship?
So it would not ship because
PDF?
it's all PDF. If they want a paper pattern, they can go to quiltwoman.com and they're all listed there. And I don't know how long they take to ship from Quilt Woman.
Okay.
So that's why I have them listed with Quilt Woman for people that want a paper pattern.
Yeah, I'm good printing at home, so I'm going to go scout your site when we're done.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. It's been an honor and a privilege to sit and chat with you a bit.
Oh, thank you so much, Donna.
And
You helped make it easy.
oh, God bless you, sweetheart. Stay on with me while we let everybody else go.
Okay. All right.
And you and I'll talk for a couple seconds. So, everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been an honor and privilege to sit down with this amazing lady and do some brain picking. You guys take care. God bless. And I'll see you back Friday night for the kickoff of the cheetah pattern. Take care. Bye-bye.